welcome back to the Bowie Youth Showcase. I'm here with Johnny Walker Jr. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
When did you first show an interest in music?
In music, I would have to say when I was around probably 6 or 7. I sing in my choir at church, and my choir director, the late Jean Galladay, she would always play, and we would sing with my older sister and the rest of my cousins, and we would just kind of sing in the key of C and just think, hey, God's great.
Okay. Well, when did you? What age did you first start playing the cello?
I started playing when I was 10.
Okay.
It's actually a funny story how that happened. I was playing trumpet because my mom wanted my siblings and I to play an instrument. Mm-hmm. My older sister picked a violin, and I said, hey, I want to go to jazz, so let me get the trumpet. They said, yeah, sure, go ahead, do it. Shook the house, and they said, no, we got to get rid of this thing. So they had this ingenious idea of giving my older sister the violin, my older cousin the viola, and so the rest of the two of us, my younger sister and I, they said, hey, let's get a string quartet going on.
How convenient.
Yes. So on the car ride to one of my sister's lessons, they said, hey, Johnny, why don't you play a cello or a bass, since, you know, Jocelyn already plays the violin. So of course I'm 10, like 9, thinking, hey, I don't know what that is. Which one's bigger? The bass, cello.
Does the cello, since you played for so long, does the cello allow you to express yourself?
Yes, all the time.
How?
Oh, that's a hard question. It expresses sometimes my happy moments, my frustrated moments, mm-hmm. my mellow moments, pretty much any state of mind that I'm in. Mm-hmm. If you hear me practice for the third or fourth hour, and you start to hear how my music changes subtly to what I'm thinking at that second and feeling.
So you can use the music to channel your emotions. Okay. Between classical, pop, funk, and jazz, what's your favorite genre and why?
Man, that's hard. Yeah, that's really hard. I would have to go with classical on this one. Okay. Mainly because it further developed the use of the cello so that it could be in jazz, funk, and pop. Okay. Like towards the Romantic period, like 1883 was like no, it's not. It wasn't 1883. It was like 1750 was when I started the classical period. So around the 1800s, the cello's repertoire started to actually grow, since it was always being overshadowed by its smaller counterpart, the violin. Mm-hmm. So over the years, other composers like Saint-Saëns, Haydn, Boccherini, skipping down the road, Shostakovich, Prokofiev, they started writing more cello repertoire. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we get people saying, hey, you know, cello's cool. Let's form a rock band and call ourselves Apocalyptica, because we're just awesome. Okay.
Was there anyone who inspired you to pursue music?
There are a lot of people that inspire me to do music. My late choral director, Miss Jean Galladay, also my late middle school teacher, Miss Leslie Thomas, and also my first private teacher, Miss Elise Cuffey.
So they helped you to pursue music in college as well?
Yes, Miss Elise does. Miss Thomas and Miss Galladay isn't with us at this time. Okay. But Miss Elise still teaches me to this day. Oh
wow. Do you have a favorite musician, and who? We can go with classical music.
Okay. Okay, because this was a really hard question. Classical musician, I would have to say I have a thing with morbid people today. Mislav Rostropovich. He was one of the conductors for the National Symphony, and also a prominent cellist in the community. Okay. There was a lot of composers during his time that he pioneered more cello repertoire, like Dutillé, Prokofiev, Shostakovich, and other composers, where he would just kind of sit there and say, hey, I've got these huge hands, work with me. Okay. Okay, and do you think that your music had an impact on your education? Yes, directly. I went to a performing arts middle school and high school, and for both of them I excelled well in my international baccalaureate classes, my AP classes, my honors classes. Just having that aspect of, hey, I've got something ringing in my head. Okay, go back to class.
Can you tell us about this photo right here?
Oh man. Oh man. Okay, so I was in Baltimore. So this was actually taken like a year or two ago. See, okay, I'm actually reading off of a score from Mozart's Don Giovanni, and my colleague behind me, Shotake, is beatboxing.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
you don't just stick with just the classic stuff. You intertwine different aspects, different types of music as well.
Yes.
Okay, and what about this photo?
Oh, this photo was taken after my, which recital was it? It was the first cello studio recital that I have. The silver-haired lady in the middle next to my friend Chanel, she's my current cello teacher, Gita Ladd.
Okay. And now that and since you said that music has directly helped you in education, can you tell me what you're doing in this photo with this huge math problem right here?
Oh, okay. So so this is called the method of undeterminative coefficients.
Okay.
On the left, you see my y and then a sub p and then a y prime and then y subprime. Those are the original equation, first order and second order, just taking the first and second derivatives of that equation. So what you need to do is you would have to set up those orders so that you could rearrange them in what we call in differential equations, method of undetermined coefficients.
How does that correlate with music?
Correlate with music? At the time, while I was at computer engineering, it made more sense when it actually got to a computer. At the time, it was, as an engineering student, you would have to take like a certain core amount of classes, like the differential equations class, calculus up to multivariable, linear algebra.
Okay.
I would say it made sense for me because I kind of sought them as different keys.
That's just how your mind works.
This is how my work
Okay.
works.
Well, now that you're older, do you teach music to children around the community?
Yes, I've subbed with my old youth orchestra program, the DC Youth Orchestra program. I've subbed for them as over the year. And also, I just started recently teaching with the Baltimore Symphony's after-school program, the Orc Kids. If anyone hasn't known of them yet, they actually just recently got an award from the First Lady this past November.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, it was great for Dan to be on TV and accept that award.
That's awesome. So how do you develop a student-teacher relationship? How do you get them to trust you?
Get them to trust me?
Well, I mean, just how, kids are, well, when I was a child, I was not really interested in my teachers, and they had to do something that made me more interested in learning, and that helped me learn to trust them, teaching me to read, playing with the other kids. My favorite subject happened to be history, so my history teachers, my history teachers started to talk to me after class, and I started to develop a relationship with them. So how do you do that for the children that you work with?
Actually very similar to how your history teacher approached it. Miss Elise, for me, it was, we started off with Disney books. Because I was completely new. I was one of her first students, and I was a clean slate. I liked playing what I'd hear. I didn't know why, but because I could always point out certain notes that I could hear on the radio, but I would never be able to just like play it. So she would fill me in on what you would do. This is, what you would do, get to this book.
So she used something that you liked to get you interested.
Yes, and said, hey, if you do this, this, and this, learn this technique, you can do this, this, and this.
Okay.
And eventually my love for the Romantics and as well as the classicals and the 20th century music just kind of blossomed from there.
Do you see a decline in arts and music around the DC area?
I see a decline in kids expressing it. It's obviously still a very prominent scene because I never run out of gigs while I'm in the DC area, as well as my other colleagues. But I don't see a lot of kids going out and being artists. Just sitting there writing a script and say, hey, I wrote this, or being the little nerdy cellist in the background just says, hey, I play the cello. What's that?
Okay, and what would you like to see regarding music in the DC area and the surrounding areas?
A lot more opportunities for them to just play.
Okay.
What I really enjoyed about my time at DCYOP was all the amount of playing opportunities I had. Like in high school, I played at the White House. We had this interesting summer where we had this melody of the Lord of the Rings, just raining and everything. It was fantastic. We played at the Carter Barron. I've played at the Mexican Embassy. Had a really fantastic master class with Mr. Carlos Prieto. He wrote a book on the adventures of a cello.
Okay.
And I've played the Smithsonian Zoo how many times. I've sold at the Kennedy Center while I was in college. Just going out and playing.
How have these experiences helped you in life?
Well, it got me to clue in to say that if you want to do what you love doing, you're gonna have to accept the fact that for a while you're gonna be broke. So in the meantime, you better come up with a backup plan. I'm not saying, don't do what you love doing, but you have to be really realistic with what you have.
Okay. And you had great teachers, you had a lot of support, but what would you do for a child who doesn't have as much support as you had?
You would help them.
Help them.
You would be that person to help them. I mean, I'd owe it to every one of the people who have impacted me, and it'd be who owes me. I probably didn't say that right, but you get the point.
Yeah.
It would be very selfish of me and a little bit rude to my teachers to not help the next generation.
Why did you pick this particular selection to play for us?
Well, to be quite honest, I was being selfish. I'm actually performing this piece for my senior recital this upcoming semester.
So just practice? Just practice?
Yes, so that I can get the real thing down. I have the music with me. I wanted to do it by memory, but things happen when you have to work and other music has to be put in your head, and of course my mind works in a certain way. Yes, go in this order, this order, and this order, and if you go out of order, it takes me more time to say, okay, I got to rearrange it so that it can be in this order, this order, this order.
Where do you see music in the next 20 years?
In the next 20 years, I see a huge increase in digital music.
Okay.
There's a lot of
EDM.
Yeah, EDM, a lot of different mixes, and unfortunately, a lot of artists are trying to recreate the live sound of a live instrument through actually a synthetic sound, which at the end of the day you can't really get that low sound that you can always get on the keyboard.
Well, thank you to both of our guests. Thank you, Johnny, so much. But thank you to both of our guests for sharing their knowledge of literature and music and how it has affected them and influenced education. My name is Kashara C. Johnny will be playing the first movement of George Ligeti's solo sonata for the cello. Thanks for watching.
Bye.